What's up everyone, Mark here, and welcome to another edition of the Taste Lab. This video is going to be kind of a follow-up of sorts to a tasting that I did maybe a year or so ago of Devon Custard. If you're interested in checking out that video too, there should be a card for it popping up right about now. But the quick and dirty of it is that I tasted a product called Devon Custard, made by a UK brand called Ambrosia. And to me, the taste and consistency were very similar to what we'd call vanilla pudding here in the United States. So, what we're going to do today is broaden the original scope, tasting the Devon Custard again, but also comparing it to a number of similar custard and pudding products in a blind test. The purpose here is to see if I can identify which is which, but moreover, I'd like to see if I can pick out more of the similarities and defining characteristics between them. Now, depending on where you're from, the terms custard and pudding can bring to mind entirely different things. Custard has a bit narrower definition in that it's a usually sweet but sometimes savory mixture of some combination of dairy, eggs, and other starches or thickeners. A custard can be any consistency from a liquid sauce or even a beverage like eggnog, to thicker preparations like pastry creams and fillings, to fully set and firm custards as in pies and quiches. Pudding, on the other hand, has many more varied definitions around the world. In the United States, we typically consider pudding to be a prepared, sweet custard dessert in any number of flavors, which has the consistency of a smooth and thick custard cream. We have other forms of pudding here too, but they're usually called out by their name, like bread pudding. Around the world, pudding defines any number of very different sweet or savory dishes. In the United Kingdom alone, pudding describes many different things from baked popovers and fruitcakes to blood sausage and more. In fact, the term pudding can even refer generally to the dessert course of any meal, regardless of the dish. Today's focus is going to be around the types of custards that are typically considered sauces and desserts. The ones we're tasting take a variety of forms, including prepared shelf-stable and prepared refrigerated, as well as powdered cook and serve and powdered instant products. As a note, all of the variations we're testing today are made or prepared with dairy milk, but many include accommodation in the instructions for using non-dairy or alternative milks. So without further ado, the lineup includes Ambrosia Devon Custard, a prepared and canned, shelf-stable UK product. Again, we've already tasted this one, but I'm including it again today so that we can compare it to a number of others. It's intended to be served either cold or hot, and typically as an accompaniment to something else versus standalone. For example, cold with fruit or berries, or hot with steamed bread pudding. Bird's Custard Powder, a powdered cook and serve UK product, which appears to be both currently and for a long time running the UK's most popular brand of custard powder. This one objectively appears to be used more often as a sauce or an accompaniment to something like fruit or pudding versus standalone, but of course it can be eaten separately. Jello Instant Vanilla Pudding, an instant powdered mixed American product, and an iconic one at that. Although as the name suggests, Jello may be more widely known for their gelatin desserts, their pudding mixes are a quintessentially American product. Like the others, this one is typically meant to be eaten as a standalone dessert or with a number of accompaniments like fruit. Jello Cook and Serve Vanilla Pudding. A cook and serve powdered mix American product, this is the forebearer of the Jello instant pudding, and it's nearly identical to the aforementioned variety, except that unlike the instant version, which contains pre-gelatinized starch, the older variety needs to be cooked in order for the starches to gelatinize. Snack Pack Vanilla Pudding. A prepared and packaged, shelf-stable American product. As with the Jello puddings, these are typically intended to be served as a standalone dessert, but may be served with fruit or other things. The shelf-stable nature of them makes them easy to store, and they've long been popular in bagged school lunches for the same reason. Ambrosia Rice Pudding, a prepared and canned, shelf-stable UK product. My reason for including this one is that it could be a bit of a bridge between what we call pudding here in the States and what they call pudding in the UK. The composition is virtually identical to what we call rice pudding here in the US, and it's commonly served alone or with fruit or some other accompaniment, same as the others. And last but not least, Kozy Shack Rice Pudding, a prepared and refrigerated American product. As with the canned UK version, it's meant to be served on its own or with fruit or other accompaniment. Pretty similar to a snack pack, except that it requires refrigeration. As you saw while we went through the lineup, I've already made all of the puddings that required making and prepared identically sized samples of each. The bottom of each bowl is marked with the contents to help keep track, but I won't know which are which while I'm tasting them, and will only be revealing what they are at the end. Since some of the products are shelf-stable, some are cooked, and some require refrigeration, in order to keep things on the level, I've refrigerated all of the samples long enough to bring them down to a uniform temperature. And in addition to tasting the plain custard itself, I'll be doing a tasting that includes some roasted peaches with each variety to see if they interact with the fruit in different ways. Alright, nothing left to do but start. I have to say right off the bat, these all look quite a bit different from each other than I thought they were going to look. I somehow thought all the samples might be a lot more uniform. This one looks almost like scrambled eggs. I mean, they're all mostly the same consistency. I think I know which are the couple that have rice in them, but I could be wrong. They're mostly a creamy consistency, a few more loose than others. And I guess we'll just start with A and go all the way along. I have no idea how I'm going to do on this. Although I did make each one of these puddings and custards, I did not do the sample and labeling myself, so I'm not sure what's what here. They don't all look super appealing. I mean, the pale yellow mayonnaisey eggy color isn't exactly, you know, the most appetizing thing in the world on its own. This one looks kind of like cottage cheese. Right, and let's just start. The vanilla comes out right away. There's a smooth, creamy consistency. I don't think there's egg in that. Off the bat, that seems like either of the Jello products, the instant or the cooked, or maybe the snack pack. We're going to try it with a little bit of fruit. Well, I think it kind of gets lost in the fruit. So let's try our scrambled eggs. Okay, it's kind of plain. Not much flavor really at all. You can really kind of taste the dairy. Overall, just a very milky flavor. And the consistency is a little bit more gelatinized. I don't want to say like Jello, but like Jello. It takes a little bit to kind of smash the curds in your mouth to kind of get it to go creamy. But in the end, it is still creamy. Now this one could use some fruit for sure. Help it be something. It's all right. Yeah, I don't know. That has to be either the birds or maybe the cooked Jello. I think it's definitely one of the cooked products. Let's try C. And this one's another one with a very smooth, creamy consistency. This has a kind of a manufacturer taste to it. I think this is one of the pre-packaged products. It's either the snack pack or it's the Devon custard. The vanilla's there, but it's almost got a sort of generic starchy flavor. I don't know how to describe that. Almost like paste. Not great. Again, it could probably benefit from the fruit, so let's see how that goes. It's all right with the fruit. And the fruit kind of masks some of that weird aftertaste and that weird starchy flavor. Yeah, I don't know. So D, I think this is one of the rice puddings. I don't know whether it's the Ambrosia or the Kozy Shack, but let's see. Definitely rice pudding. Again, this one's got a very milky flavor. It doesn't have a lot of vanilla flavor to it. It's a little bit familiar. I'm going to say that this is probably the Kozy Shack versus the Ambrosia, only because I think I've had Kozy Shack before. And it's a familiar taste. Not that it couldn't be a little bit of fruit. All right. It's good. It's plain, but it's good. So in the same way that this one was plain, that B was kind of plain, this is similarly plain, but the consistency is just much more appealing. We are on to E. Oh, that's very loose. Now I'm not sure. This could be the snack pack, or this could be the Devon custard, I think. It's all right with the fruit. It's definitely one of the manufactured ones, I think. So maybe that's the Devon custard? or the snack pack. Still undecided. So this one is what appears to be another rice. We're on F. I don't know if this is the Ambrosia rice or if it is the Kozy Shack, but I suspect it's the Ambrosia. Bit of a gluey flavor. Not a fan of this as much as the other rice, whichever is which. This one for sure could benefit from some fruit. It's all right, but no, I don't really like it. No, and there's too many off flavors, and I don't like the more liquidy consistency. And last but not least, we have G, which is G. The vanilla in this one is very forward too, which makes me think it's the one of the Jello. Because it's a little more gloopy. Yes, it's not really a nice way to put it, but it is. I think if these two are the Jello, then this one is probably the instant, and this one is probably the cooked. Oh, let's see. I mean, none of these are bad. None of them are objectionable. You know, I like some of them more than others. All right, I guess I need to decide on what I think is what here. All right, so A, let's, one more time. A, we're going to say is instant Jello pudding. I think this is the birds because I intentionally, so I was given to understand based on reading up on it that the standard recipe for the birds was a little more loose and saucy, and I wanted to try and get a thicker product to try and make something that would more closely match, you know, American pudding consistency. And I may have overdone it, and or I may not. I mean, some of you maybe you like it like this. Again, not that there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just a little thick. But I don't know. I mean, if you're a Brit and you eat this stuff, then you tell me. Is birds supposed to come out looking like scrambled eggs, or did I do it wrong? C. I think this is... What did I say? I thought this was the snack pack? Yeah. I think that's the snack pack. This, I think, is the Kozy Shack. And again, that's kind of cheating because I recognize the consistency. So if that's the Kozy Shack, then that means that is the Ambrosia. And if that's the Ambrosia, that makes me think this is the Devon. The colors are very similar, you know, the Ambrosia Devon custard versus the Ambrosia rice pudding. I will say, though, the two rice puddings are very similar. So where I thought this would be a good comparison point, I think it is. I don't love it, but it's a canned product. You know, this one is at least, you know, it's a pre-made packaged product, but it's refrigerated. You know, it's not shelf stable. It has a shelf life, so it's probably more likely to that it tastes fresher. You know, not objectionable, a little milky, almost metallic tasting. I mean, not quite, but just that taste of something that came from a can. And it's kind of the same thing there too. That's, again, that points to this being Devon, and this being the Ambrosia rice. That leaves this being the... I suppose this could be the birds too, based on that consistency, but no. Very vanilla forward. That's definitely one of the Jello. So if that's the instant, which I think it is because it's smoother, then that is the cook and serve, because it's a little gloopier. So, instant Jello, birds, snack pack, Kozy, Devon custard, Ambrosia rice, Jello cook and serve. I don't know, you can put what you think down in the comments or whatever. Let's do the reveal. Jello instant. What I thought it was, so we got that one right. Birds. Yeah, I thought I may have screwed that up. So yeah, again, I apologize if this is not what birds is supposed to look like, and I suspect it's not. Also, for something that's more often probably served warm over there, to, you know, cool it down like this and refrigerate it and try to compare it to other dessert custards maybe wasn't the most fair thing in the world either. So if this is the snack pack, and it is snack pack. And again, this has got a very American pudding consistency similar to this, but there's just something, the flavor gives it away. Kozy Shack. Kozy Shack. That may be the one that I actually finish later with some fruit. So Devon. Yep. And I am not at all surprised to see that this would be the Ambrosia then. Ambrosia rice. And then that leaves this one has to be Jello cooked. There's just something about the consistency of the cooked custards. It's always a little bit more grainy. You know, this could still almost be called a creamy scrambled egg, to be fair to the birds. Well, now I got to figure out what to do with all this custard, but I think that's just about it for this video. Guys, if you enjoyed this one, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, tell me what you think down in the comments, and I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel for more new videos all the time. See you in the next one.